Hello, I'm choosing to go live because I really don't have time to upload this and do everything. I'm away at the moment again. And I just wanted to have a quick chat because Spirit has been nudging me for a few days now to do this. So I thought I'd better pull my finger out and do it because you know what it's like when you get a message from Spirit, they don't stop until you give it. So I'm going to give it. I'm looking at everything that's going on, and it's been a really tough couple of weeks for all of us emotionally. And that's the key thing, it's emotionally. I believe that as we're moving into 5D, 5D has to move down through the dimensional realities to lock itself into the physical reality. So now we're at the emotional stage. And of course, the next stage is physical. So it's very, very important for us to stay emotionally calm. I found myself really being challenged and triggered emotionally, especially with the wars and the torture and the murder. Hi, Julie. And the murder and everything that's going on. And when you hear these stories and you see these things being sent to you with this push to react, to go into reaction, it's really hard not to, especially as a mother. It's very hard not to sympathize with those mothers. So I came to the realization that it's not about me not sympathizing with someone. It's not about me pushing down the fact that I'm a mum and forgetting that and being disconnected. Because, usually when we want to avoid certain emotional realities, we disconnect. So we go into drugs, alcohol, sex addiction, food addiction, all of these different things. And I've been getting the really strong message. It's not about separating ourselves. It's actually about connecting ourselves even more deeply to a loving vibration, which could be God, it could be divinity, it could be your pets, it could be your partner, it could be nature, it could be anything that makes you feel connected. And this is really tough because we're constantly being pulled to go in a different direction. We're constantly being pulled. And what I'm seeing is that we're getting pulled into like the metaverse. We're getting pulled into a false reality. I'm not saying that these murders, and they are murders, I'm not saying they're not happening. But what I'm saying is if we get caught up in the emotional turmoil of all of that, we disconnect from the divine and we connect with the chaos. And as a light being, I'm understanding very strongly, which I'm sure all of you do, that light creates and dark uncreates. And I listen to what my guidance says, to what Kassandra says. I'm very skeptical about what other people say. I'm a deep skeptic, which a lot of people perhaps wouldn't believe because I am aligned with a guidance, with psychic gifts, things like that. So you always think of a skeptic as someone who's against that. I'm not against it. I'm very cautious with it to make sure that the person who's giving me the information isn't being influenced by something other than pure, authentic light and the truth. And what I've come to understand is that there are various different relationships with truth and levels of truth. And I'm also noticing that people who perhaps in a past life experienced a trauma around invasion, or they were in the Orion Wars, and there were also a lot of destruction on the Pleiades. As we know, there's 7 planets, but 2 which have been uninhabitable. Now, I'm understanding that they are coming alive as we are moving up to the 5th. The whole universe is becoming alive. And so they are, well, it's not becoming alive, it's all upgrading. And I also understand that Andronima, which was a 12th dimensional physical reality, is moving into a 13th dimensional physical reality, which hasn't happened in this universe. So there's a lot of changes going on, and a lot of it is as a result of what's happening here, because we are all interconnected. So as Mother Earth breathes in and out and takes in more light, she exhales more light that goes out into the universe and vice versa. So it's all interconnected. You and I are interconnected. We're interconnected with everything. We are all one. The law of one is true. And so my feeling is that if I get caught up in strong emotions around what's going on, it doesn't mean I don't have an opinion. It doesn't mean that I don't understand in my own brain, intellectually, what's going on. It means that I'm seeing it from a different perspective and saying, okay, if I want peace on earth, if I truly want this, then I can't be holding anything other than peace within myself. Because I realize the only reason we haven't gone into like a full-blown nuclear war is because majority of the population don't want it. And that's why it hasn't happened sooner, because we don't want it. And now there's been a massive push for us to want it, for us to feel so angry, so incensed by what's happening as a parent, as a child. It blows my mind that we are saying take a side, side with this people because this is what happened, or side with that person because, it's like that whole one-upmanship of victimhood. So, my situation was a lot worse than yours because I was abused by 3 people in my life and you were only abused by 2. So there's this one-upmanship that's going on, and that's competition. And competition isn't going to help us to find inner peace either. So it's been a huge week for me because I had to let go of a lot of things that my mind was attached to, but my spirit was in conflict with. And I was crying. It was hurting me deeply. I was disconnecting from people because I didn't want to get caught up, and I know that they felt it. I know that it hurt them because I wasn't doing my usual thing, picking a side and playing the game. And it's not for me to say to anyone, stop. You have to find it internally. If you really want the world to be at peace, we have to be at peace because we are the world. We're all breathing the same oxygen. We all want the same thing. I mean, when you travel a lot, you realize that everybody wants the same thing. They want their kids to be safe. Not everybody wants fame and riches and all of that. Most people want a peaceful life where they can educate their children, give a little bit more to their children than what they had. We all want that. And most people live from love and kindness. And so what we're seeing being pushed into our brains to trigger us emotionally is a way of stopping this evolutionary leap that's meant to happen for mankind, for earthlings. We are meant to evolve. And we're not meant to evolve with technology first. We're meant to evolve internally first, and for the technology to echo that, to be in harmony with that. That's what's meant to happen. So that's why I wanted to do this quick chat this morning and do it live so I don't have to upload it, because I don't really have access to my phone, which is a good thing, if I'm outside of the hotel. So I'm just doing this now before I run out and walk around a city and connect with people. I find connecting with people a really good thing because it restores my faith in mankind. There's kindness everywhere. I love sitting in cafes and watching people. I observe things quite closely and deeply. Yesterday, I met a lady who was really lovely, but she had been institutionalized a number of times, and I could see the conflict that she had around her mental status, and it was really quite what you have the competition in partnership solution to find peace. Yeah, that's it. You find peace first. And this woman was really interesting because, as I said, she'd been institutionalized a number of times, and she was really struggling because she had just, in these past few months, lost every member of her family. I mean, they died. And now she was alone, and she was grappling with it. But we said to her, how are you doing? She said, I feel free. Isn't that interesting? And what I realized by having this conversation with her, which most people probably would have said, oh, she's a bit mad, let's shut up and, eat or drink. But I wanted to talk with her. And what I realized was that these outside influence that had told this sensitive soul that she was crazy, when she wasn't. She was very sensitive, very intuitive, and very soft. So the outside world's going to tell you you're crazy when you're like that, and you can believe them or not. Unfortunately, she believed them. I was told I was crazy as a child all the time, that I was seeing things, delusional, insane, because I had visitations. I was a problem child. I was uncontrollable. I was all of these things. I was put on medication from the age of 7. I was institutionalized into not mental institutions, but I was sent to orphanages and foster care because my parents couldn't cope with me. And there I was strongly abused. And so I just understand that when the outside world tells you there's something wrong with you because you think differently, you don't necessarily have to believe them. I reckon because I'd had past lives where I had very strong spiritual connection, I didn't lose it in this lifetime, so I didn't believe them. I knew that I was sane, and that kept me going. And so now, even as a young adult, if anyone told me that I was a little bit off because of the way that I saw things or the things that the spirit that I saw, I didn't listen. I just said, okay, you can't be my friend. That's right. That's a beautiful thing, mister. If you try to change the world, it will destroy you. If you change yourself, the world around you will change. Exactly. So can you believe that now people honor me for the very thing that I was called crazy and insane for when I was young? I never let people destroy me like that. I never let them, and I don't know what it was. It was like I had this really strong sense of myself from a very young age. And I do believe that comes from lifetimes of different forms of persecution, that I had this strength in my soul to withstand it on this planet. But I'm noticing that as we understand the mental stuff, right? So we understand that a lot of the MSM is bullshit. It's all lies. It's this, that, and the other. We understand all of that. And now, because we understand that and people are waking up, now they're hitting us emotionally. They're hitting us emotionally. And I'm telling you, they're going to try and hit us physically as well. So, get a bit of extra food, a bit of extra water, get yourself connected with people in your local community, those that will share with you, support with you. Get amongst your family and say, okay, if the lights go out or if the phone goes down, this is what's going to happen. We're going to meet on this day at this place, or just know that I'm going to go here or something. Let people know what you would do. I've already started it with my family, as I don't live close to any of my family apart from Yanni. Obviously, my husband, we live together, but my family and friends, I don't live by most of them, so I have to let them know what would happen if anything went awry. So understand that we are being pushed emotionally to go into negative emotions, to hate, to have anger, to go into that darkness within ourselves, what we don't normally like. And we have to choose not to. And I know that's like betraying your neighbour. It's like betraying your friend because you're not willing to do it, but you have to. Because if we don't, we're going to fall into complete and utter chaos. So some of us have to be strong. And like this morning, okay, I got up this morning quite early and I thought I'll, do a few things and then I'll check my messages. And immediately I get all this stuff about what's going on immediately. And something inside me said, don't press the button, Susan. Listen to some uplifting music. So I listened to music instead, because it's very tempting to press that button and start getting caught in. And I know the power of my energy. If I get caught in to that, I'm actually anchoring it here on the planet and I'm empowering it into position and reality. And yeah, I can send love. I can send healing. I can send peace throughout the land. I can still use my energy to change things, but I don't need to change it through anger. And some may say that's foolish. I'm just remembering something. I think my son was 4 at the time, and we were on a bus, and there were some kids on the bus being very cruel, and they were teasing him. He was sitting on the chair, kind of leaning over, and they were teasing him, and they were teasing someone else. And he just looked at me and started crying, and he said, "Mummy, why are people so cruel?" It broke me, because this was my son that was experiencing this. And it was very tempting for me at the time to get up and tell those kids to shut up, to have a go at them and tell them they're nasty and everything. And I just said to him, "Don't look at them, love. Look at me. Are we happy today? Where are we going today?" And I changed the whole narrative so that by the time we got off the bus, he was back to his normal, loving, happy self, right? And I think those kids thought, what's going on? They're not playing the game. Because obviously, maybe they have problems at home and they need to get it out. Because kids tend to, and adults, we tend to express what we can't in the privacy of our own environment. We express it internally. We express what we've been experiencing. We have to let it out. We have to let out these negative things that are in our body. And that's why exercise is great for people, or painting or something like that. Even singing. I do singing, cooking, walking, things like this. So I just wanted to let you know that you're okay. Everything's going to be fine. But we are creating that everything's going to be fine. We're creating it together. And we will draw to us those that can help us to do so. So on that note, I'm going to love you and leave you and go out for a walk. And hopefully I'll see you Wednesday for the healing. Lots of love. Bye for now.